Okay. Macapayad, Shebarry. Nonscholar, BsCrim 2nd year. Chapter 1. Human behavior gives us an academic understanding of motivation, productivity, how terms work in terms. This insight can help with workplace or any group settings more productivity, consequence, or subconscious selection of particular action, learning to behavior, adjustment, and adaptation. Two basic types of behavior: inherited behavior, eating habit that can be inherited, or parents' behavior that gets them to behave like a bad behavior, and I'll watch you are moved to also eating. The one who does how you're watching in the glow your life. To learn behavior, you often learn the same thing as playing here. You're going to have to experience things. Can you easily experience? Can you always do like food? But it depends on the attitude you're showing. Habit ritual. I show here how you can show your speech, and I show then how you can show then your emotion to people you met. Instinctive. While instinctive behaviors inserted so much of our behavior of human, cultural determined influence to have degree, and every difficult determined is something instinctual, symbolic action which like dancing, conversation, and speech faking, like writing or music, significant. The things acts what are important, complex. Here you show that you have habit, except when you don't even show them. Anger have action, but in heart of your mind don't show your feelings or attitude to people. Abnormal behavior. Person seems sad to you. That's signs of depression. Symptoms of various disorder. In case some symptoms, major depressive disorder can include insomnia, early every day, insignificant weight loss, when not eating, or weight gain, or feelings worthlessness, or these are characteristics of abnormal behavior. Chapter 2. Factors are the lying values, anxiety, depression, determination, obsessing, food, immunization, and suffering. Recovery, sadism, missionary, disease, lepidophilia, exhibitionism, diligent behavior. Heredity. Often a person might seemingly inherit their parents' short temper or perfectionist tendency. The same child inherit their parents' big blue eyes, thick curly hair. While it may be clear the physical characteristics are genetic correlation, it's difficult to know whether the behavior traits result from genetics or learned. Thanks to years of exposure throughout childhood, culture, people who live in individualist cultures tend to believe that independence of education and personal achievement. Important people who lead the collective culture. Social harmony respectfully. Psychoanalytical theory. Childhood experience where our dealings with our parents even connected, it can explain our being today. Theory deterministic, where whatever in the past will affect our present. Continue with this concept is contained. Trait theory. Traits in psychology refer to ways they are described a person. Descriptive terms such outgoing, short-term, generosity, all traits. Approach is the one of the most vital area studied in the psychology. Humanistic. The humanistic psychology. The humanistic philosophy that encourages selflessness, which is not the monstrous or selfishness of the narcissist, but instead the healthy nature, such characteristic of the happy, fulfilled person who knows how to set limits and to be responsible. In addition, being able to follow your bliss, involving value system. In a particular, the book contains carefully analysis of how the hunting gathering mode production induce favorable attitude of violence, conflict while farming values, and less favorable attitude toward violence. Reactive. Responsiveness is the course, but usability and utility, but more than responsiveness, the problems may be detected quickly. Effectivity reference system focus on providing consists of time establishing reliable upper bounds deliver consistent quality of services. Tribalism is the state of being organized by advocating for tribe-tribal lifestyle with a negative vision and political context. Egocentrism refers to someone's inability to understand another person's view or opinion may be different than their own one, represent behaviors and the some who assume that others share their respective agenda. Manipulation or emotional. Manipulation is the use devotes mean to exploit, control, or arduous influence other one's advantage in the extreme. Trigger, slender, impostor. Social trick. Qualification relationship between people define group classroom. Children, board director, resident, village, town, trading, partners, nation. Existentialism. Philosophy that emphasizes individual existence, freedom, and choice is the view humans define their own meaning in life. Perceiver. A person who becomes aware of things even through synonyms. Beholder, observe, percipient. A transfer adapted to able process non-textual data such as image, sounds, and video, and spatial data. Target is a general merchandise retailer selling products through stores, and digital channels. General merchandise is to offer edited food. Situation is the way something's positions compare surrounding or the status of the circumstance or combination of circumstances at a specific point in time. Chapter 3. Needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs pyramid that needs and motivate people. Individual most basic needs basis pyramid. Needs. Follow hierarchy of needs of pyramid. The needs motivate people in the most basic needs. Once in the fulfill the needs, people move on their safety needs, social well-being, self-esteem. Tension. Needs to create tension is the individual such tension physical, psychological. People try to develop object that satisfies their needs. Drive. Human motivation is largely intrinsic an aspect of this motivation can be divided into autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Motives. A highly successful business tycoon who married to his ideal wife things get twisted our man and add an adulterous affair. Goals. Become whatever you want. Identifying ways to set goals lead to success. An incentive, something that motivates or drives something behave in certain. However, incentives are motivated by reward search, increased pay for achieving. Performance. A performance is an stage representing a play, concert, or other form from entertainment, and also define action, process, carry, project, action, motivation in the process that enhances, guides, and maintain goal-oriented behaviors. What goes up, never getting glass water, reduce the reading book to gain knowledge. Internal motivation. Distinct motivation is defined doing as activity inherent satisfy rather some separable concepts. External motivation. We're external motivated to do something other than external getting written such money, avoiding getting into trouble. Motivation as a force behind human behavior. Assumption in contemporary theory, which a contemporary theoretical perspective are referring at least with the main science or the questioning physical science. Motivation to work to be successful, must motivated to work hard. Motivation cycle. Motivation cycle is a creation state within organization, practice organization to all satisfaction particular need. Motivation considered psychologists use concept needs describing the motivational properties behavior.
Dilim naman.
Chapter 4. Survival needs. There are right minimal psychological requirements for survival. These are air, water, food, shelter, sleep, space, and touch. Security needs. Safety and security needs are about keeping us from harm. Needs include shelter, job, health, safe environment, person. Social needs. Safety and security needs are about keeping us from harm. Needs include security, health, safe environments, environment, deal weeks and find safety before day. Ego needs. Ego needs, or we can say esteem needs, consist on self-confidence and self-respect. Self-actualization are the highest level in realization of person potential. Self-fulfillment is seeking personal and growth in speak experience. Existence needs include all material and psychological desire, food, water, air, clothing, safety, physical love, and affection. Related needs have to do with the importance of maintaining interpersonal relationship. These needs are based in social interaction with others, aligned with love and belonging related. Growth needs. Alice desire to grow individual according to Malus. Person culture deficiency needs before she can move to fulfilling growth needs. Need of achievement for significant accomplishment, mastering of skill, control on high standard. The terms was first associated with range of action. Need for power as desire for power either to other people for one's own goals to achieve higher goals for a greater good. Chapter 5. Approach avoidance conflict. A situation involving single goal or option that has both desirable and desirable aspect. The closer individual comes to goal, the greater anxiety but withdrawal from the goal and increase desire. Approach conflict when this conflict within a person where person need decide between two goals are both appealing. Avoidance behavior or any action person take to escape from difficult truths that feelings. Manifestation of frustration. A frustrated usually become inheritable and stress. Some of the type physical response of frustration, losing your temper. Unrealistic goal. You will realize that you have won't achieve and you don't come up with creative strategy. These goals will demand you to come up with will strategies. Harmful or antisocial behavior proclivities including antisocial behavior and family conflict. Analyze various the characteristics and tendencies such as risk-taking behavior, juvenile delinquency, aggression, criminal and inhibitory behaviors, family problems, substance abuse, night cheating, stealing, failure, and comfort to social norms. Complete goals relate to basic goals manifest themselves in first need to achieve two different goals, put pressure organization, more and less action that affects performance related environmental goals. Environmental goals such as clean energy, climate action, as the goals economic, that hunger, poverty, health. Reaction of frustration that depends the mechanism are called the right independent individual psychology make up the black goal. Some employment get frustrated. Frustration tolerate. The ability to deal frustration and frustration tolerance. Individuals with high frustration tolerance are able to deal with setbacks successful. Direct approach or request can follow the evidence. This deductive argument led to the deviation from direct forcing usual procedure and special round both temporary replacing part of a road. Substitution. Substitution can be applied in various contexts involving formal object meaning, the symbols, the operation, consistency, grammatically replacing. Unhealthy result frustration, headache, digestion, insomnia, increased anxiety, depression, high blood, skin problems such as eczema, heart attack. Behavior disorder. Behavior disorder involve the pattern disruptive behavior children the last 4 to 6 months cause problem in school, home, and social situation. Organic behavior. Behavior is inherited by a medical, physical, psychological condition is organic behavior. Functional behavior. Non-behavior disorder are the most common reason parents will take their kids' mental health assessment treatment in behavioral disorder. Neurotic behavior. Neurotic means afflicted by neurons. Venus describe mental, emotional, and physical reactions that are drastic, irrational. Passive-aggressive personality disorder. Behavior when express negative feelings directed instead openly talking about them. Someone who use hysterical personality and a person with history personality disorder. Self-esteem depends on the approval of the others. People with this disorder have overwhelming desire to notice often. Help police to the law officer. Identify issue, understand everyone's interest. List the possible solution, evaluate the options, select the option or options. Document agreement on the contingency, monitoring, and evaluation. Chapter 6 and 7. Sexual deviancy. Sexual act, sex gratification by means other than stereosexual relationship. This concept refers to behaviors when individuals seek erotic gratification through means that are considered or different or acceptable to either most influential persons. One community has with most form deviance sexual by person of different background. Homosexual. Sexual desire or the same sex. It's your same-sex male to female and female to female. Fetishism. Obtaining sexual pleasure primarily exclusive from particular object is unique because the people here can get for pleasure only by selecting things like a man sniffing human panties. Travestilism. Obtaining sexual gratification by wearing clothes the opposite sex. This turns refers having sexual pleasure by wearing the opposite man wear human panties so that she can have word pleasure. Sadism. By causing pain to others. Here on other hand, a person enjoys giving pain to this partner. The man enjoys every time he slaps the woman. Masochism. Obtaining pleasure by inflicting pain upon themselves. This opposite sadism because it makes a person happy when he always hurt before he enters. Exhibitionism. Obtaining pleasure by exposing the genitals to others. Here on other hand, person can achieve worldly pleasure by showing private organs. Voyeurism. Obtaining sexual pleasure by watching the member of the opposite sex undressing or engaging in sexual activities. Incest. Sexual intercourse between people related to blood. This is that we call family stroke, having relationship in your own blood related. Pedophilia. Obtaining pleasure from sexual contact with children. This where person get worldly pleasure having sexual contact with a child. Bestiality. Sexual intercourse of living animal. This is the condition person having sexual attraction to animals. These are the increased sexual intercourse with this person and to have sex with a dead person. Chapter 7. Management process by which organization deals with major event that threatens organization general public. Assess situation leaders constant. Someone which is the important, someone which is not skilled. Take immediate corrective action separate. Corrective action takes an extensive problem division and critical limit and stop a food safety breach that is happening. Listen and observe. In a crisis situation, listen to the highest rank to do good job or arrest. Criminal look around every time. To take a step. Employee crisis. Diffusion technique. I think the criminal hostage taker you wants to kill, but you need to calmly and ask him not to pursue the plan. A lower voice and speak properly. Always repeat what's being said. The important thing to calm down a criminal should be punished. Lower your voice and speak properly. Always repeat being said. The criminal important thing. Calm down and criminal should be punished. Chapter 8 and 9. Chapter 8 and 9. An introduction to terrorism and powerful use or violence against person, property, intimidate, or government or citizen others in take political, social objectives. Law enforcement in generally recognize two types of terrorism: domestic terrorism based in executive United States by our own citizens, with foreign direction, international terrorism, which is connected foreign governments or group transnational boundaries. Terrorism act citizen. In our study, separate terrorism and trace separation, although not always grouping national, transnational, international. A transitional terrorist incident is a country involves victim perpetrators target institution of another country which used to focus. Transitional terrorist incidents such as terrorist attack. International terrorist refers terrorist that goes via national boundaries. In the terms method, we use people targeted or place from which terrorists operate. What are the factors may have influenced this model? The media, communication, potential for superviolence. A motivation, group classification, minority, national group of fighting majority, community with the support base will depend, ethic, religious, or